I've read over 1,000 books. I've read just about every business book that is out there, at least of any kind of reputation. Most books on money and finances. And let me tell you something. I got Ray Dalio's book and I was excited for it. I really wanted to like this book, but I've got to give you an honest review here, even though it pains me. I didn't really have anything against Ray Dalio. I read his Principles book, and I thought, I'm not sure I necessarily agree with it. I don't see why it's so phenomenal. It is important to have principles. I did a talk about having principles as a man. But let me tell you some of the issues that I had with this book and why I would give this a thumbs down. And I don't like to be negative, but I feel like you guys need to know about this and this book, especially since it's been so popular. I know a lot of you guys have watched the videos and have subscribed to Ray's channel. And again, I don't mean to knock him as a person, but as far as this book is concerned, there's a lot of ethical issues with it that I feel like should be addressed here. So the very first thing I would say about this is there's just no reasonable, actionable advice from the book. That is a huge problem with a book like this that has a huge promise about helping you to navigate the changing world order. It doesn't tell you what to do. It really doesn't give you any kind of advice at all as what to do. I went through it multiple times, tried to find the kernel of wisdom, and there were some interesting things there, but there was nothing that actually told you what to do. Most of you guys are wondering right now, the reason why this book is selling so much is because of fear. People are afraid, but what is he telling you to actually do in this book? You tell me, because I don't know, because I have no idea how I'm supposed to preserve wealth, how I'm supposed to make money at this time. It doesn't make any sense. The second thing I would say about this is, and this is a critical one, is that nowhere in this entire book is there a reference to Bridgewater Associates' $1.25 billion raise for its third investment fund in China. The big problem I have with this entire book, all right, is that it is written for a Chinese audience, almost. It seems like it's written for Chinese leaders because he is bending over so hard to try and give China a BJ that it doesn't make any sense to me at all. First time I read through this book, I was like, am I being hypercritical about this? Are other people getting this? Some of the stuff that he's glossing over about the human rights issues in China and being like, oh yeah, Mao was just doing the best that he could. I mean, after slaughtering millions and millions of people, like 30 million people, I don't know. He was saying that Americans think of things differently and Chinese think of things differently, and that's neither is necessarily right. No, you're wrong there. Like, you have to stand up for some of the things that are common sense. I mean, he was saying that a top-down approach versus a bottoms-up, we don't know which is the best way to govern. Hold on. A top-down approach, it's fascism or communism. This is what we're talking about here. Is we're talking about a dictator type of approach. This is not the bottom-up approach, having some democracy or republic. That is the way. That is not someone who has made his money off of capitalism should be espousing. He is trying to really treat these things as if they don't matter that much and just glossing over them. Like I said, there's a conflict of interest here because he's literally created a $1.25 billion raise for his China fund. And he has made a huge amount of money from China. So there was other references in the book to Americans stealing China's intellectual property. That's just comical. We know that there is a lot of Chinese that are stealing intellectual property from US companies. It is what it is, but to reverse it and say, oh, it's happening the other way, I don't think so. That's not a problem. Basically, this book is very much gloom and doom. It's cherry-picked history. He's picked a lot of the cycles. I mean, it's some pretty obvious advice in the sense that what happens historically? What is this major revelation that he's found? He's found that countries start out and they go through a period where they start making money, and then as they start making more money, they start spending more money, and then they start getting into debt, and then eventually they get into a debt bubble, and then the cycle repeats again. Not rocket science here, from a guy like this that has made so much money, has been so successful investing. I first heard of him from Tony Robbins' book on Money Master the Game, which I have my reservations about that book as well. It doesn't make sense. He's not really giving you any kind of thing that is going to be really helpful to you at all. The biggest issue that I had is that him just pretty much a third of the book is him just pumping up China. That is what he's literally doing. I won't use too many vulgar terms there, but you can pictures that are going through my head about what he's doing to China. And it just doesn't make any sense here for a book like this. Here's what I would say, okay, guys? If you're looking for a better book on money, watch this video. I did a video with MJ DeMarco where I interview him and read The Millionaire Fastlane. That is much better quality. I would just skip this book, but watch that video instead.